Chapter 3 Doubts 6th of October, 1961. Doubts kept coming into my mind. Many doubts. Such ordinary surroundings. Such ordinary people around him. Is he a great man? There seems to be no glamour of a great guru, a great teacher about him as we used to read in books. He was so simple, living a simple, ordinary life. Clearly he took his household duties seriously. I could see that he was the head of a large family, 6 children, and his brother and his family living also in the same house, all sharing the same courtyard. And I saw also other people there, a few other families. The place was full of comings and goings, full of all kinds of activities, not to count his disciples, of whom there seemed to be many. Decided to speak to Elle about it. She will soon be back. She had to remain in Kashmir because of a religious congress in which she took part. In the meantime, I resolved to stay away as much as possible. Went there after 6 p.m. He was writing letters seated cross-legged on his tachet. I tried to read a book I brought with me. Soon he looked up and asked me if I felt uneasy, or if I felt any pain. Told him that if my foot is not better, I will not come tomorrow. My foot was hurting, could hardly walk because of the infection I brought with me from Amistar. There was a painful sore in between the toes, an inflammation giving me much trouble. I suspected the pools of water one had to cross before entering each temple were the culprits, but I did not tell him so. Besides, it was only a suspicion. It could be anything. He made some sympathetic noises. While speaking, I secretly hoped that he would cure it instantly. Did not mention it, but had this idea at the back of my mind. He looked at my foot. "It will come right by itself," he said, as if aware of my thoughts. "Rest is useful," he added, and continued to write. Did not stay long and went home. 9th of October. Pushpa's house is roomy and comfortable. Ceiling fans are in every room. With the excuse of the small infection on my foot, did not go to the guru. But I went this morning. He was talking nearly all the time about his guru and how much money he spent on him. I wonder if the old man knows my thoughts about him and talks like that because of it. I have now every possible suspicion about him. Stayed for a very short while. In the afternoon it was raining heavily, so did not go either. Will try to keep away from him until Elle's arrival. So much hope shattered. Did I expect too much, perhaps? It seems all so commonplace, so banal, so ordinary, and he hardly bothers to answer my questions. "You will know one day," he says. Why and how? What prevents him from explaining? What an attitude! Went to a classical concert with Pushpa's husband and daughter. To a Gita class on Sunday morning. Nothing special. The Gita class was held by a Ramakrishna Swami of Ramakrishna Mission Order. But the concert was lovely, and the tape recordings of music which Pushpa's husband played to us in the afternoon were exquisitely beautiful. Otherwise boring days. Plenty of worldly chit-chat, endless waiting for meals never served punctually, and a feeling of great loneliness. Dark, endless longing, and I do not know for what. Much disappointment and much bitterness. Who are you? Are you what Elle told me, a great teacher, a man of great spiritual power, or just one of so many pseudo gurus one meets here in India at every step? Are you a teacher at all? You seem to have many disciples. I saw plenty of them already in the short time I have been here. But what I heard from Elle, you must be a great man. But are you? 10th of October. It was raining in the morning. Went about 5 p.m. Nobody was there. Then the professor of mathematics arrived and sat with us. Later Bhai Sahib suggested to us that we might like to go to a discussion which was held in the park. A platform was erected for this purpose. Plenty of learned Hindus were attending. I refused. Told him that I wanted to be punctual at the kirtan, singing of devotional hymns, which was held at Pushpa's place at 7 p.m. Left with a professor of mathematics, who was also coming to the kirtan. Walking along, he asked me what this discussion was supposed to be about. I said, about the avatar, divine incarnation of Ram. There is a theory that he was the only incarnation of Vishnu, a second person of the Hindu Trinity, the preserver, and nobody else. Then I began to tell him about my doubts. Is there any purpose to go to Bai Sahib at all? Is it not a waste of time? He listened with great seriousness. If you are convinced that your guru is always right, that he is the only great man, then you will progress. Your guru may not be great at all, but you think that he is, and it is your faith which will make you progress. It is the same with Ram. What does it matter if he is the only incarnation of God or not? For the man who believes it, he is. So why discuss? I refuse to participate in intellectual aerobatics. I agreed with him. What disturbs me most about Bai Sahib, I went on, is the fact that he does not answer questions. Every time I want to know something, he will say, "You will know it one day yourself." Now who can tell me if I really will know? Maybe I never will, so why not simply answer it? I want to know now, not sometime in a hypothetical future. I begin to wonder if I'm wasting my time. You know, he said, just to give an example, for instance, a son of a rich man inherits the wealth of his father, and then he will have more than you and me. Now, here it is the same in this place. This man has a certain power which will reveal in time something very wonderful within yourself. It happened to others. It happened to me. I have been here for the last 12 years. I speak from experience. I don't know how it happens. I have no explanation for it. I even don't know how one can inherit such a thing, but it is a fact. Stay here for a month, and you will be in a state Elle is, and we all are, and then you will think differently. Elle, when she came years ago, spoke as you do now. I said that I was sure that it would take longer than 1 month. Of course, it takes years, he agreed. But after 1 month, you will be able to form a judgment. I told him that I decided at any rate to stay here until March, and he answered that it would be wise to do so. I have seen strange and wonderful things happen to human beings. It is as I tell you, and dhyana is definitely not a trance. It is a yogic state and has nothing to do with mesmerism either. We were entering Pushpa's gate. The veranda was brightly lit. Many people were already there. Dhyana is complete abstraction of the senses, in Sanskrit. Indriyas. It is a yogic state, as I have just told you. We entered the room, and the music started. I was in deep thought. So that was it. Somehow I felt that this conversation represented a turning point. An intelligent man, an intellectual with a balanced mind, normal, reasonable, gave me his opinion. I liked and trusted him from the first moment I saw him a few days ago. In my heart, I felt I should give it a try, accept the situation as it presents itself, and see what will happen. Why not? Lights were burning in front of the pictures of Rama, Shiva, and Parvati. The room was crowded, everyone seated on the floor. Kept looking at the faces full of devotion while my heart kept rhythm with the ancient melody. Hari Rama, Hari Hari. And I was thinking and thinking. And was still thinking deeply when, back in my room, hardly aware of howling dogs roaming the streets and the evening noises of a busy Indian street. Is dhyana just sleep? I asked. If you think that it may be sleep, then it is sleep. If you think it is not, then it is not. His face was stern, but there was like a faint a suspicion of a wicked little twinkle in his eye, a hidden laughter. Not much of an answer, I must say, quite in keeping with his general attitude. 12th of October. Though everybody keeps telling me that the climate here is not a good one, I find it healthy and invigorating. It seems to agree with me. I am always well where the sun sees me. My body needs the sun. The food at Pushpa's place is excellent. I am eating too much, sleep well, am hungry, my health is good. The foothill completely in the last few days. Arrived about 5 p.m. Nobody was in the room. Sat down in my usual place in the chair opposite his tachet. His wife came in, searching something in the recesses among the books. Then he came in. I don't remember how we came to talk about Diana, but probably I began because it kept worrying me. As soon as I came into his room, the thinking process slowed down, and I felt sleepy. I told him so, and he translated it to his wife. She said that I was not the only one. It happens to her, too. As soon as she lies down, she falls asleep. I never sleep during the day, he remarked. How can you keep awake in this place, I wondered. I feel sleepy as soon as I sit down. He laughed. Then he began to tell me that in 1956 he was very ill, desperately ill, and many people came who could be of some help in one way or another. But they all sat there fast asleep, and his wife used to say, "What did they all come for? Just to sleep here?" So Diana does mean to fall asleep after all. Is Diana and sleep the same thing? No, it is not. It could be similar at the beginning, but if you remain too long unconscious without being conscious somewhere else, then you are not normal, then something is wrong with you. Do you mean to say that one becomes conscious somewhere else when unconscious on the physical plane? You may remember that I asked you several times about it, but you never answered. Of course, he laughed merrily. It comes gradually, little by little. It takes time. But before you can do it, you must forget everything, leave everything behind. I said that it seemed to be a frightening thought. He laughed again softly and gave me a look of kindly amusement. Could not see why he found my answer so funny. How do you swim? He began again after a silence. You throw water behind and behind you. That's how you propel yourself. Spiritual life is the same. You keep throwing everything behind as you go on. This is the only way. There is no other. Is there not a danger to become stupid by forgetting everything, I wondered. Why, he retorted. If you have 10 rupees in your bag and you get 10,000, you will forget the 10 rupees, will you not? The 10 rupees are still there, but you don't think of them anymore. Isn't it so? I could see what he meant and also that he was right. Later I was telling him about a discussion we had with Elle about spiritual life, and that she was of the opinion that I could not go on further alone by myself, or progress more than I already had, for she said that a guru was absolutely necessary. A guru is a shortcut and a sharp cut, but not a guru, a friend, a spiritual guide. I have nothing to teach, he said. What do you mean by a system? I asked. He used this expression often in conversation. It seemed an unusual one to me. I was not quite sure if I understood its meaning. A system is a school of yoga, or a path to self-realization. The meaning is the same. We are called saints, but it is the same as yogis. In wisdom there is no difference. The color of our line is golden yellow, and we are called the golden Sufis or the silent Sufis, because we practice silent meditation. We do not use music or dancing or any definite practice. We do not belong to any country or any civilization, but we work always according to the need of the people of the time. We belong to Raja Yoga, but not in the sense as it is practiced by the Vedantins. Raja means simply kingly or royal, the direct road to the absolute truth. And why is it that one cannot go on by oneself any further and would need a guru, I asked. Because by yourself alone you can never go beyond the level of the mind. How can you vacate? You mean to empty the mind, to clear it from any thought? I asked, not being sure what he meant by vacate. Yes, how can you vacate, clear out your mind, if you are constantly working through the mind? How can the mind empty itself of itself? You must be able to leave it, to forget everything. And this one cannot do alone, for the mind cannot transcend itself. Will I ever be able to do it? For I am afraid of this idea, I said doubtfully. He laughed again, looking at me sideways. If you are ill, who does the work? Others, of course. If you are unconscious, to be sure, there will be many people to look after you. I said that it may be true in theory if, for instance, I can easily be robbed in deep samadhi, a superconscious state emerging into the universal consciousness. No, he retorted, then you are not in samadhi. If you are in samadhi, you go to your creator, and the creator will look after you. And even if you are robbed, it is not because you were in samadhi, but because it was your destiny to be robbed. And it is of no importance to you once you have reached the state of consciousness. When we travel together, you will see that I take nothing with me. I am not afraid. But if you travel and have no money, somebody has to travel with you and keep the money and be careful that it is not lost. Otherwise, you both will be in trouble, I insisted. Yes, that could be true, but not necessarily so. Perhaps I could travel free, or the money will be forthcoming. God works through many channels. At any rate, I affirm that he who is in samadhi, nothing happens to him, and if it does, he does not care. He fell silent. You have your knowledge, he said thoughtfully after a while. You will forget it all. You must forget it before you can take any further step. I wondered if this is what the scriptures mean. One should forget all books, leave all acquired knowledge behind. Only then can one make the big leap into the unknown, beyond the mind. He agreed. There are only very few people in the world nowadays who can teach you the Sufi method. The Sufi method represents complete freedom. You are never forced. To put somebody in dhyana, it can be done, but it would only show that my will is stronger than yours. In this case, it would be mesmerism. There is nothing spiritual about that, and it would be wrong. When the human being is attracted to the spiritual guide and wants to become a shishya, disciple, there are two ways open to him: the path of dhyana, the slow but the easier one, or the path of tyaga, complete renunciation, the road of fire, the burning away of all dross. And it is the guide who has to decide which way is the best suited in each individual case. The path of dhyana is for the many, the path of tyaga is for the few. How many would want to sacrifice everything for the sake of truth? The shisha has every right to test the guide, but once he is satisfied and accepts the guide, here he laughed his young and merry laughter, then the guide can take over, and the disciple has no free will for a while. He contradicts himself, I thought, but said nothing. Then he began to speak about his guru, the great Sufi. He is always with me, he said. Do you mean that you see him? I asked. He had a tender, faraway look. If I say that I see him with these physical eyes, I would be lying. If I say that I don't see him, I also would be lying, he said after a brief silence. I knew what he meant. He could reach him in his higher states of consciousness. Well, perhaps it is a good thing after all that I came here, and I was thankful for the opportunity of this long conversation. 15th of October. Went to Gita class this morning, of no interest. When I arrived at Bhai Sahib's place, he was asleep. His lean figure in the white dhoti looked strange and contorted. I sat down quietly in the corner near the door, on the tachet which stands along the wall behind his own. Later, a young man came and, noticing that the guru was asleep, sat down and closed his eyes. He was from Delhi and was here for the first time, Bhai Sahib told me afterwards. I was sitting cross-legged, all was still, some noises from the street, a child crying somewhere in the courtyard. Then I became aware of a great power in the room, a tremendous power. For the first time I felt like this. It was like being in a powerhouse. I scarcely could breathe. The force was terrific. I had a great disturbance in the throat. The heart was beating and aching, and the beat was irregular. Seemed to have lost the sense of time. After a while, perhaps 1 hour or so, Bhai Sahib sat up, looked around with glazed eyes, then sat motionless in deep meditation, cross-legged, looking ahead with unseeing eyes. The force in the room seemed greater and deeper, increasing all the time. The room was vibrating, humming with it. One could literally hear it like a great sound, high and low at the same time. I remembered how Elle looked when she was in deep samadhi, but this was a different thing altogether. I sat with closed eyes, trying to endure it. It was difficult to bear, this tremendous force. The mind, it was hardly present at all. Lost somewhere, swallowed up, dissolved, or rather absorbed by the charged atmosphere of the room. Opened my eyes after a while and saw that he was looking directly at me. It gave me kind of a jerk, like an electric shock. The expression of his eyes, it did frighten me, but I immediately realized that he was not really looking at me at all. His eyes were wide open, unseeing, empty eyes. He was not in this world at all. This was quite evident. I began to feel so sleepy that I had to fight with all my might against falling asleep. After a while, his wife came in and told him that the tea was ready. He took the small towel which he always carried with him and went out. Not a word was spoken. The young man, who until then was sitting there silently, now said something to me. I could not reply, could not utter one word. Too great was the peace, the seemingly eternal stillness. Went home, fell on my bed, and plunged into a deep sleep. 16th of October. Went to him in the morning. I did not speak, neither did he. He kept walking up and down on the brick elevation in front of the house, repeating his prayers, mala in his hand. 17th of October. Arrived in the evening about 6. Durga Puja, devotional service in honor of the goddess Durga, was going on in the Deva Singh Park, opposite the house across the street. From a large marquee, brightly illuminated by colored lights, loud music was pouring out a rhythmic sing-song of devotional prayers. He was not in the garden, but somewhere in the street, so I was told. Something had happened, a fight or a disturbance of some sort, and he was talking to a police officer. His wife, and the women of Bhai Sahib's household stood in a group discussing the event. A bright lamp was fixed on a branch of one of the trees in the garden. Thousands of moths and insects were dancing madly around it. What was attracting them so much to the brightness of the light, to be in such an ecstasy? And I was thinking what a glorious thing it must be to be a tiny moth in the hands of God, and to die like this in utter ecstasy in the blaze of his light. What force was driving them? It must be a very powerful force or instinct, because though half burned, they seemed not to be deterred from returning again and again in a mad, ecstatic dance until they fell to the ground in the last convulsions of death. To die burned by thy light, what a wonderful death. Jagan Nathji, a professor of mathematics, came walking through the gate, and all the women suddenly disappeared into the passage which leads into the inner courtyard. Bhai Sahib came stalking in with big steps, followed by gesticulating men in dhotis. The atmosphere became more and more charged with excitement, and everyone seemed to be shouting except him. Some more men came in. Could not bear the noise. It was jarring on my nerves. Stood up and went into the room. Sat alone in the dark in his big chair. Had much disturbance in the throat. Something must be wrong with the throat chakra. I had better ask him about it when an opportunity arises. Soon the chairs were brought in. All men filed into the room, and I left. It was too much for me. It was raining softly. The air was so fragrant as only the air of India can be. All the year round, shrubs are flowering in the gardens around. I walked swiftly, lifting my face to the moist air, breathing deeply. To vanish dancing in the light, a heavenly thought. To die in the explosion of thy firework of glory. To burn oneself out in the blaze of thy light. Gentle drizzle on my skin, as on the crest of a wave, the whole of my being was carried away in a powerful longing. It was something new, a new chord, echoing, reverberating in the depth of my being, a yearning to vanish in thee. I stopped dead, then slowly went home. 18th of October. Went in the evening, did not speak, neither did he. He was writing letter after letter, and his wife kept coming and talking and interrupting him. There is no privacy in India. How difficult it must be for him, never alone, interrupted, disturbed at all times during the day, even when in deep meditation. I wondered how he could bear it, but perhaps he was used to it, being Indian himself, and did not mind it at all. I saw that at Pushpa's place it was the same story. One could not have any conversation without being constantly interrupted by servants walking into the room wanting this or that, or asking questions on household matters. Children wanted attention. One never had any peace at all. There was always incessant coming and going, and noise and movement. 19th of October. Came in the evening. Still cannot speak. At Pushpa's place, I'm also very silent. Read most of the time. Do not feel like speaking at all. Soon after me, a man came in and began to talk to him in Hindi. After a while, Bhai Saheb turned to me, introduced the man as a professor of history, and told me that he would like to talk to me. Did not feel like talking at all, but could not refuse, and he seemed a nice person. After a few preliminary exchanges of polite sentences, he told me that he knew exactly my state of mind. I retorted slightly ironically that if he did, why did he not explain what was that state? He said that I am thinking that what I see here is mesmerism or sleep, and keep doubting if it is a good thing or just nonsense, and if I should remain here or go away. Told him that this was in fact my actual state of mind at present. An interesting conversation followed, of which I can hardly remember anything, which is a pity. At the end I asked, as a conclusion, what would be the right attitude according to him. First, faith, absolute faith in the Guru. One must have faith that he knows the right road, which will lead to the truth. Without absolute faith in the Guru, it is impossible to achieve anything. He was speaking seriously with utmost conviction. When one should feel sleepy, one should relax, close the eyes and wait for something. Mind you, for a long time you may wait and nothing will happen. It is here where faith will help you. Feel deeply that you are in the presence of God and wait, full of alertness and surrender for His grace. Then you will not fall asleep, not really, and one day the grace will strike you. I asked him how long it takes, as a rule, for such a thing to happen. I think not more than 2 years, he answered. This is the average. Do you mean to say that I have to stay here all the time, endure the heat of the plains? I surely will die. He sat up straight. By no means. I feel you should not stay at Bhai Saheb's place too long at a time. A little in the morning and a little in the evening. Then go away and come back after 1 week or 2. Go away for a few months in summer when the heat becomes unbearable, and so on. I could not agree with him. If I decide to stay here for the training, to go away from time to time would be a waste. Surely, if I want spiritual life, the only important thing would be to take the greatest advantage of the opportunity, in spite of the difficult circumstances. 20th of October. Went in the evening. His wife was talking nonstop all the time. There was nobody except myself. It is all so empty and banal. Who is he? How would I know? Perhaps a sign will be given to me? I knew that it happens sometimes that a sign is given. Feel restless and afraid. He could put me in a state where I could give all my money away, or do something mad, like caressing those dirty children, masses of whom one can see in the street, as it happened to Elle when she felt such love, as she told me one day in Kashmir. How can I trust him, have faith? How is it possible? What shall I do? This man has power. There is no doubt about that. And those strange heart conditions, the new surge of feelings, what does it all mean?